Hey, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another video. Now today we're going to be working on my 1997 Honda Civic Hatchback. And if you guys haven't seen the previous video on this car, I'd really recommend checking it out, and I'll make sure to leave a link above. Now where we left off last time with this car is that we were diagnosing what was wrong with the air conditioning system in this car, because I was having an issue where it was rapidly turning on and off, and luckily it ended up just being that it was low on Freon gas. Now I think for today, since we were kind of focusing on more mechanical stuff with this car, what I would like to do today is actually focus more on the cosmetic stuff. Now I've noticed you guys in the comments have been mentioning that I should go out and replace this passenger headlight after I picked up that one from the junkyard that looked to be in really good shape. So I think we're finally going to do it today. I know I've been putting it off, but I've just been trying to focus on other things because this is something that should go pretty quickly. For something that I found at the junkyard, it's really remarkable how clean this one is in comparison to the one that I got when I initially picked up this car. And I don't know what the whole story is and why one is replaced on the driver's side versus the one on the passenger side, as you can see here. But I think it will just really tidy things up for the front end and really transform the way the car looks as of now. I actually did spend some time just using some polishing compound to try and restore this back. And about 3 or 4 years ago, one of the first videos that I actually made on this channel was about headlight restoration. So if you want to go check that out, maybe I can leave something up there. So I've gone through this whole process before, but the one thing that you will just start to notice is over time, if you go through the restoration process, it will slowly start to turn back to this yellowish stage. And sometimes it's almost like a terminal thing where it just makes more sense to replace it if you really want it to be like super duper perfect. And then another issue that I've been having with this car that I haven't really mentioned too much in the videos is the fact that the roof and all little bits all over the car are covered in this tree sap material. I'm assuming it's tree sap at least. And I've tried a couple things to take it off. I used some isopropyl alcohol first, and I just tried some small spots, and I was able to get off some of the stuff, but I wasn't able to get off everything. And then after that, I actually tried some acetone to try and take some of this stuff off, and that actually worked. But the thing about acetone that kind of freaks me out a bit is it starts to go past the clear coat if you use too much of it. So what I actually had happen is I reached out to Brian and the folks over at Torque Detail, and they actually sent me over this Sap Attack. And they told me to give this a shot and see if this will resolve all the issues that I'm having with trying to get this stuff off without harming the original paint. Now I know this car is not 100% perfect, but it would make a really nice cosmetic transformation to be able to take off all these little spots all over the car, especially on the roof. But I mean, it's all over the place. It was all over the hood too, but since we went to the junkyard and we replaced this, that's not too big of an issue anymore. But I mean, you could see it over here, it's on the back bumper, it's on the side, it's even on the door handle on the driver's side. So I really want to just test and see if this stuff really works. I think that will be the agenda for today. But before we get into any of this, let's bring the car into the shop. Putting on the headlight on a Civic isn't that involved or complicated, but you have to remember that there's two mounting points that are beyond just what's on the top. So these top ones are of course just going to be some 10mm bolts, but to gain access to the ones that are essentially on the side here, what I think I'll have to do is I'll sneak around by taking off the grille, and then I will disconnect this portion of the bumper and just kind of pull this down, because I find it completely unnecessary for you to have to take off the bumper. Hopefully this expedites the process, or maybe I'll just look like an idiot. Sneak it in there. Oh, you stupid. God. There. Okay. So what I also got at the junkyard along with this headlight is these set of headlight bulbs. I guess I looked these up online and they cost around $40, and apparently they're almost like a step down from an HID. And what I can do is I can leave a link down below, but what I wanted to actually try was just plugging one of these in to see and test if they're any good. And this is always a good way just to test anything before you actually put it all together. Okay, so here's the original bulb. Here's the upgraded one. Do you see a difference? It's so hard to tell during the day. I think I might just give these a shot, see what happens. I'll swap out the other bulb on this side too. I'll have those spares in the glove box, not a big deal. I just want to push this back a little bit. Okay. Now where's that screw? Wow. What a difference. It looks really awesome. See how symmetrical it is now? I'm still curious about the bulbs. So what I did is I left one with the upgraded bulb and one with the OEM one from whatever it was from the auction. So maybe tonight I'll park this against like a wall and see if this makes any difference. But honestly, in the daytime, I really couldn't tell. It just really transforms the front end. It looks really nice. Okay, so let's tackle this tree sap. And again, I'll have this link down below. But essentially, the instructions are pretty straightforward. It says, shake the bottle well, spray this onto a clean microfiber towel, and then just gently rub to agitate the contaminants. Of course, you don't want to put this stuff on your eyes and your hands. It's always good to check this stuff to see what it's safe to use on. So it tells you that it's safe to use it on the outside of a car or the inside, but it tells you to not use it on leather, rubber, car seats, upholstery, and unfinished wood. So in that case, we're not going to use that. Maybe I could even tape this off to avoid this little plastic trim, but screw it, let's just do it. Now, if this was just tree sap that was on the car for like a day or two, that's totally fine, and it will probably come off with the product, and I really don't blame the product in this situation. But what I will say is this stuff, you can tell, has been sitting there for months, and it's just very tough to get it off. It's getting to the point where I have to almost be really careful and use this plastic trim puller to just get underneath the surface of it, because I'm really gonna try my best here not to mess up the paint, but it actually is lifting up. You just have to be really careful with it. Get underneath it, if you will, and just kind of lift it up. But I think it will eventually come off. I'm gonna focus on this one spot right here just to show you guys this stuff working and being in action. So I'm just gonna spray it directly on. I know on the instructions it said that you spray it on a microfiber towel, but trust me, I think this is the only way that it's actually gonna work. And what I'll do is I'll actually agitate it a little bit with my finger, and then I'm gonna go right underneath it with this trim puller, being extremely careful. You just have to have a lot of patience, man. You can't just rush this stuff, because if you scratch the paint, it's gonna look really horrible. But this is the only way it's gonna come off. It's either this or your fingernail, trust me. The product is really working, it's really attacking it. So the majority of it is coming off, and you don't wanna scrub it too hard. That's how you mess up the paint. But you see, it didn't make a difference. It's just a matter of sitting here and going over it over and over and over again. If you wanted to really play it safe, of course you could use the acetone. That will probably take it off instantly, but I would say you'd almost immediately have to clay and polish the car just to prevent anything from happening. Here's another example of just letting it soak. I think that's the way to go. You let it soak and it just starts to break down this nasty stuff. See, like all these spots right here? So of course I didn't get it absolutely perfect, and it's something I think is just gonna take a little bit more time. But I'm really grateful for the opportunity to try this stuff out, and honestly, I would recommend it to anybody that wants to give it a shot. This is probably your worst case scenario when it comes to something like this, so I really don't disregard the product in any way, but it's just been sitting there and it's hardened to the point where it's just gonna take a lot of patience for somebody to do it. I guess I've signed myself up for some extra work. I will say that I'm very happy with the way the front end came out for today, and I feel like that is what I'm most excited about with this one. And right before we wrap up today's video, I did want to make one quick announcement, and it's actually about my merch. So I actually just came out with a new design that is going to be on a t-shirt and a sticker, and funny enough, it's actually of this car. It's of the Biohazard Honda Civic Hatchback. But the coolest part about this is that it's in cartoon form. So I worked with this artist, his name is Tuner Tunes, and I'll make sure to link down his stuff below. And I really love the way that it came out. I think it's just lighthearted and fun, and I think that's just kind of the whole theme of this car. And I think it aligns really well, and maybe you guys would enjoy it. And it's one way for you guys to be able to support the channel so that we can keep this movement going. I think with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.